Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts. In today's video, we're making a pouch, and I've made this to suit the size of a bar of chocolate. But as you watch the process, you will see that you can change the size up to suit your particular needs for your gift. I have made this out of 200 GSM pattern paper, double-sided to give me the look that I want. And the concept, which was based on a pen case which I saw on Pinterest, is if we open the door, you get this nice heart effect created when the door is opened. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to start by making a template for the heart shape for the front door. If you have heart dies, then I would recommend that you use them if you've got one that will suit the size of your pouch. And if you watch the process, if you want to then change up the size of the pouch, you can obviously do so. I'm starting with a scrap of cardstock, which is 3 5/8 by 5 3/4. And I've got a circle die, which I'm going to use to create the top curve of my heart. And this is 3 3/4 across from outer edge to outer edge. I'm then going to lay the circle die on the cardstock so that the top of the circle is just under the top edge of the card, and the right hand side of the circle die is over on the right hand side edge. And I'm going to draw around the circle until I meet the other side like so. So that's the top half of the heart. I'm going to measure down the left hand side of the cardstock and just make a pencil mark at 1 3/4 inches. Draw a diagonal line across from the bottom right hand corner up to that point. And this is going to just help me freehand shape the side of my heart. As you can see at the moment, that's a very odd heart shape. Now, obviously, this is not an accurate heart. It's just to give you an idea. So I'm going to just pencil around and just create my curve, soften the curve. And if I need to, I can go underneath the straight line that I've drawn. This is not going to affect any of the measurements at all. So I'm much happier with the shape of that now, like so. And then I'm going to extend that down, like so. Now, obviously, you're just trying to give the look of a heart. As I say, if you've got heart dies, use those. Or it might be that you have an image resource that can give you a heart shape that you can print off and then use as your template. But I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to try and cut it as smoothly as possible, because this, as I say, is going to then help me create the curves on the pouch. So I do want to try and retain the look as much as possible. So this is the heart template we're going to be using going forward. So now I've cut my heart out, I'm just putting an arrow so that I know my heart runs in this direction, because there is a danger with the way this looks that you might twist it slightly when you use this as a template on your pattern paper. And the first thing I'm going to do is use that to create the front door of the pouch. And I'm going to cut it twice. So I'm going to cut one with the pattern paper this way up and one with the pattern paper that way up, so that I can then enclose the glue tab and that won't be visible. So we can cut those out, and once we've cut those out, we can start working on the pouch itself. I've got a piece which is 8 3/4 by 7, and I'm working with what will be the inside pattern face up. Along the long side, score at 1/2 inch and 1 inch, 4 5/8 of an inch, and 5 1/8 of an inch. Rotate, and on the short side, score at 6 1/2 inches. Now we're going to put in our cut lines. So you might want to leave your piece in the scoreboard for the measurements, or take it out and use a pencil and ruler. That's entirely up to you. Rotate the piece to the short side so that the 2 1/2 inch sections are at the top. And we're going to start by making a pencil mark within the top 1/2 inch section at 1 1/2 inches. So it will run down to the first horizontal score line. Move your ruler along to 5 3/8 of an inch, and we're going to draw through a line through the first and the second 1/2 inch tabs, and then move down to the next 1/2 inch section and continue the line like so. Rotate the piece 180 degrees. So our pencil lines are all at the bottom, and make a pencil mark on the top edge at 5 1/2 inches. So the 1/2 inch tab, the single 1/2 inch tab is on the right. We've got a pencil mark at the top, a pencil mark in the next 1/2 inch section, and then pencil marks which run through 2 1/2 inch sections here and 1 1/2 inch section here. Lay your piece down on your mat with the 2 1/2 inch tabs to the left. You're going to take your heart template, line your template up against the second vertical score line where the end of the curve is on the top of the heart. Line that up with this pencil mark here, and we're going to draw around the top of the heart from the pencil mark on the left all the way round until we reach the pencil mark on the right hand side here, which is in this 1/2 inch section. So this is going to be the top of our pouch, like so. We're then finally going to draw from the end of this pencil line here within the 1/2 inch section down to the pencil mark, which is at 1 1/2 inches on the right hand side. So across like so. So this is the basis of our pouch. So as I said, you can change up the height, the width, etc., and indeed the depth of the pouch to suit your needs. This is just going to give you the outline shape. So we can now fold and burnish along all of the score lines. We're now ready to cut our piece. I'm going to rotate it so I've got the 2 1/2 inch tabs in front of me and the 1/2 inch tab on the right hand side, and cut along the 2 pencil lines to the second horizontal like so. And then we're going to move along and cut along the pencil line in the first 1/2 inch like so. So we're splitting that tab, and then we can also cut up the last score line like so. So this is effectively 4 sections. Rotate, remove the bottom left hand corner like so, and then we're going to cut up each of the score lines up to the horizontal all the way along to create our base tabs. And then I'm going to take a wedge from the small tabs like so, and just make sure I've removed any of the score lines that might be left behind on the long sections. We can now cut along the pencil line in the last section, cut across the 1/2 inch tab, and then cut around our pencil template line around the back. Rotate the piece back, and with these 2 glue tabs here, we're just going to shape the end of the longer tab, and then I'm going to take a small wedge from this glue tab here. We can now start to glue our piece together. I'm going to fold up this side and fold the longer glue tab just back in this direction for now, so it's completely out of the way. Add glue to this glue tab and bring up and over the front side section. Make sure that your piece all runs parallel. So that is glued in place like so, and then add glue to the small glue tabs on the base and glue the base together, and then add glue onto this back section and bring the front across to form the base of the pouch. And then finally, so I'm going to use construction glue for this, so I've got the wiggle room for the heart. And when you line your heart up onto the front door, you want to try and get the rounded top of the heart lined up with the shape of the back. So I'm going to sit this on roughly to start with, like so. and then I can hold the piece up, and I'm just looking from above just to make sure that they are at roughly the same height, like so. And then before the glue dries, I'm going to pull the door back like so, and you can see that when the door is fully adhered and open, you get that heart shape from the inside. Just burnish that down. I'm going to take my second heart and just use it to conceal this glue tab here. So I'm just going to add glue onto this section, and then I'm going to sit that on the top. Just stand that up like so and just burnish that down. That'll spread out any glue. Flip that over. You can see that's all nice and lined up on the front, and that is effectively the pouch finished. And then when you open it up, you get this nice heart shape on the inside. So you can now consider any closure that you might want, or alternatively you might feel that a closure is not necessary, and add on any additional embellishments to the outside. For the closure, I've got a simple wooden heart which is coloured red. I've put 2 layers of foam on the back and sandwiched the baker's twine between the foam, and I'm just going to have that about here, and that is just going to run around, so that will just tie at the front like so. So there we have today's project. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel, and until next time, thanks for watching.